Welcome back to Outside Views EU, where we dive deep into the workings of the European Union and all its complexities. Today, we are exploring the differences between Eurozone and non-Eurozone countries. Why do some countries in the EU use the euro while others don't? And what are the implications for each group? So let's start with a quick recap. The Eurozone consists of the countries that have adopted the euro as their official currency. Currently, 20 of the 27 EU member states use the euro. And this means their economies are closely tied to each other through a shared monetary policy governed by the European Central Bank, the ECB. On the other hand, non-Eurozone countries have opted to retain their national currencies. And these countries include so far, or for the time being, Sweden, Poland, Hungary, and several others. But why haven't they joined the Eurozone? For some, it's a deliberate political choice. For others, it's a matter of not meeting the strict criteria required for adopting the euro. So let's dig a little deeper into what sets these two groups apart. Firstly, monetary policy. In Eurozone countries, the ECB sets interest rates, controls inflation, and manages the overall monetary stability. And this centralization aims to provide stability, especially in times of economic crisis. However, this also means that individual countries have less control over their own economic policies. Non-Eurozone countries, meanwhile, maintain control over their own central banks, and this allows them to adjust interest rates and monetary policy to suit their national economic conditions. For example, during a period of economic downturn, a country like Poland can lower its interest rates independently to stimulate growth. Eurozone countries, on the other hand, must align with the broader monetary stance of the ECB, which might not always be ideal for each member. Now, let's talk about exchange rates. Countries outside the Eurozone have their own currencies, which means they can fluctuate against the euro and other global currencies. And this can be a double-edged sword. On the one hand, a weaker national currency can boost exports, making goods cheaper and more competitive internationally. On the other hand, it also means greater uncertainty and risk for businesses and also investors dealing with exchange rate fluctuations. Eurozone countries avoid this risk altogether. By using the euro, they eliminate exchange rate uncertainties within the Eurozone. And this facilitates smoother trade, investment, and of course also travel between member states. Imagine the ease of moving goods across borders without worrying about currency conversion. This is one of the key advantages of the Eurozone. But of course, it's not all positive for Eurozone members. A shared currency also means shared risk. During the euro crisis of the early 2010s, countries like Greece faced severe financial issues. The entire Eurozone felt the impact, and member states had to come together to support bailout measures, which is not a good thing. Non-Eurozone countries were largely insulated from this direct economic fallout. Another key difference lies in economic flexibility. Non-Eurozone countries have more tools at their disposal to react to economic shocks. If a country faces a recession, it can devalue its currency to make exports more attractive and stimulate growth. Eurozone countries, however, can't do this as they share a fixed currency. They rely on fiscal policies like government spending, but even this is restricted by EU rules on budget deficits and debt levels. And this brings us to convergence criteria. To adopt the euro, countries must meet specific economic benchmarks known as the Maastricht criteria. And these include limits on inflation, public debt, budget deficits, and interest rates. Not all non-Eurozone countries meet these criteria, and some are not particularly eager to do so. Take Sweden, for example. It technically qualifies to join the Eurozone, but has chosen not to. A referendum in 2003 showed that Swedes prefer to keep the krona, valuing the economic independence it provides. Public opinion in countries like Denmark and Poland also reflects skepticism about giving up national control over monetary policy. For some, the euro represents stability, integration, and a step towards a more united Europe. For others, it symbolizes a loss of sovereignty and control. But let's consider everyday impacts. For citizens in Eurozone countries, traveling between member states is seamless. No need to exchange currency, no fluctuating exchange rates, just ease of movement. And this convenience also extends to businesses. A French company trading with Germany does not need to worry about exchange rates affecting profits. In contrast, businesses in non-Eurozone countries face additional complexities when dealing with Eurozone members. They must manage currency risk, which adds cost and potential barriers to trade, although we're not supposed to have any. However, for some of these countries, the benefits of retaining their own currency just outweigh these inconveniences. A flexible currency means they can better handle external shocks, as I said, like global financial crises. Another aspect to consider is banking and financial stability. In the Eurozone, banking regulations are harmonized under the banking union, which includes the single supervisory mechanism and the single resolution mechanism. This provides a consistent framework for dealing with troubled banks and aims to prevent another crisis like the one in 2008. Non-Eurozone countries are not part of this banking union, which means their financial institutions are regulated nationally. And this can lead to differences in how banking crises are managed and potentially to varying levels of financial stability. Then there's political integration. Adopting the euro is often seen as a commitment to deeper European integration. Countries in the Eurozone are more tightly bound, not just economically, but politically as well. Non-Eurozone countries retain more autonomy, which can be appealing for those wary of too much central control from Brussels or Frankfurt. In recent years, we've seen different perspectives on whether the euro is beneficial. Countries like Croatia and Bulgaria were actively working towards joining the Eurozone, seeing it as a way to boost economic stability and growth. And meanwhile, countries like Hungary have shown less enthusiasm, emphasizing national control over economic policies. And the debate over Eurozone membership is quite complex. It involves weighing economic benefits like stability, lower transaction costs, and political integration against the loss of monetary sovereignty and the ability to react independently to crises. It also reflects broader questions about the future of the European Union. Should the EU move towards more unity, or should individual nations retain more control over their own destinies? The Eurozone, despite its challenges, remains a core pillar of the European project. It symbolizes unity, but also cooperation and a shared future. But it's not without its downsides, and not every member of the EU is convinced that joining is the right path. As we move forward, the differences between Eurozone and non-Eurozone countries will continue to shape debates about the EU's direction. Should more countries adopt the euro, or is it better to maintain a diverse monetary landscape? All new members will have to adopt it. Only time will tell, but the debate will undoubtedly remain central to the future of Europe. So, once again, thanks for joining me today on Outside Views EU. And if you found this discussion insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Would your country benefit from joining the Eurozone, or would you be better off with your own currency? I really would love to hear your views. Until next time, stay informed and stay curious. The next video is right here in the end screen.